The moment we opened this game, something felt off. Not scary yet, not loud, just wrong. There was no music, no menu animation, no friendly press start, just a black screen and a blinking cursor, like the game was waiting for us, not the other way around. We laughed because honestly, that's what you do when fear hasn't settled in yet. Someone joked, "Wow, 10 out of 10 graphics already." But even while laughing, I could feel my chest tightening. My heart was beating faster than it should have been, and I hadn't even moved the character yet. Then the screen flickered. One sentence appeared, dead center, "You're early." That's when the room went quiet. I remember thinking, okay, this is scripted. It's just atmosphere, but atmosphere doesn't make your hands sweat. Atmosphere doesn't make you sit up straighter without realizing it. As soon as the game loaded, we were standing in a narrow hallway. The walls were too close, the ceiling felt too low. And there was this sound barely audible, like a clock ticking behind the walls. Every step echoed, every second stretched longer than it should. I said, "All right, let's just move forward." The character didn't move. We pressed the button again. Still nothing. Then the game responded with another message, "Take your time." That's when I felt it, that crawling sensation up my spine. Like someone was standing just behind me, watching the screen over my shoulder. The lights in the hallway flickered once, twice, and then the ticking stopped. We didn't know it yet, but this was the last moment the game let us feel safe, because what we were about to encounter wasn't a jump scare. It wasn't loud, it wasn't fast, it was personal, and the first thing we came face with was already getting closer. The hallway stretched on longer than it should have. No doors, no windows, just peeling wallpaper and flickering lights that buzzed like they were struggling to stay alive. At first, it felt empty, too empty. Then we heard it. Footsteps, not ours, not synced to our movement. Slow, heavy, deliberate. I froze. Do you hear that? Everyone did. The footsteps echoed from behind us, each step dragging slightly, like whatever was walking didn't need to hurry. My heart was racing now, pounding so loud I thought it would drown out the game audio. We stopped moving. The footsteps kept coming, closer, closer. I whispered, okay, maybe it's just ambience. Right on cue, the footsteps stopped. Complete silence, no ticking, no buzzing lights, nothing. That silence was worse than the sound. It felt thick, like the air itself was holding its breath. I could feel my fingers tightening around the controller. My palms were slick with sweat. Slowly, I turned the character around. The hallway behind us was gone. In its place was a wall, smooth, clean, and way too close. Before we could react, the footsteps started again. This time in front of us, the lights flickered violently, and with every flash, a shadow appeared at the far end of the hall. Tall, crooked, standing perfectly still. I tried to run. The character wouldn't sprint. The footsteps got louder, faster, more aggressive. My heart was pounding so hard it felt like it was synced to every step that thing took toward us. Just as it reached the light, the screen cut to black. For a second, we thought the game crashed. Then white text appeared, "It found you." And before we could process that, the game loaded us into a brand new location. But whatever we heard in that hallway, it didn't feel like it stayed behind. The new area was a single room. Small, square, no exits. One bare light bulb hung from the ceiling, swaying gently back and forth. Every time it moved, shadows stretched unnaturally along the walls, twisting and bending like they were alive. We tried to laugh it off again, nervous jokes, forced humor, anything to break the tension, but the game didn't give us time. The light flickered and went out, complete darkness. I held my breath without realizing it. The silence was so heavy it felt like pressure on my ears. No background noise, no music, just nothing, then a faint glow, right in the center of the screen. Something was emerging from the dark. A face, no animation, no sound, just appearing closer than it should have been. Its eyes were too open, unblinking, fixed directly on us. My heart was racing. I could feel it in my throat. Someone muttered, "This feels too real," and they were right. It didn't feel like a game anymore. It felt like staring at something you weren't supposed to see. I tried to pause. The pause menu wouldn't open. The face tilted slightly, like it was studying us, examining our reactions, testing how long we could hold eye contact. Then it smiled, not wide, not exaggerated, just enough. The screen pulsed, and suddenly the face was closer, close enough that you could see the cracks in its skin, the unnatural stillness of its eyes. I leaned back in my chair, heart pounding, whispering, "Okay, okay, that's enough." The light bulb snapped back on. The room was empty, no face, no shadows, no explanation. Just one message burned into the wall: "You looked." And before we could even ask what that meant, the floor beneath us gave way. We fell into darkness for what felt like way too long. When the screen stabilized, we were standing in a familiar space, a bedroom. A desk, a computer, a mirror. It took a second to realize why my stomach dropped. It looked like our setup. The game froze again. No movement, no input. Text appeared. "You sound different when you're scared." We laughed nervously, but it came out shaky. "All right, that's creepy, but still just a game." The screen responded instantly. "You said that before." Then it started listing things we had said earlier. Exact phrases, jokes, nervous comments, even the moment someone whispered, "This feels too real." We went completely silent. The character turned toward the mirror on its own. Our reflection stared back for half a second. Then it lagged. The reflection smiled when we didn't. Behind it, standing just over the character's shoulder, was a shape. Tall, blurred, wrong. My heart was racing. I couldn't look away. None of us could. The reflection raised its hand. The real character didn't move. Then the knocking started. 3 slow taps on the inside of the screen. Knock, knock, knock. The mirror cracked. Text flashed rapidly, almost glitching. "Let me out." The screen went black again, and I remember thinking, this has to end soon. But the game wasn't done. It loaded one final area, and this time there was nowhere to run. We were trapped in a narrow room. One door locked. A timer appeared at the top of the screen. 00, 30, no instructions, no hints. The seconds ticked down painfully slow. My heart was racing, hands shaking as I searched the room for anything at all. At 00:10, the door unlocked by itself. It creaked open slowly. Something stepped inside, not running, not screaming, just walking forward, one slow step at a time. The closer it got, the quieter the room became, like the game was muting itself so we couldn't escape the moment. At 00:03, it stopped, right in front of us, so close the screen blurred. Then it leaned forward. A whisper came through the speakers, low and calm. "Now you see me." The timer hit 0. The screen cut to black. Text appeared, "You survived." Then, after a pause this time, we just stared at the screen, breathing heavy, hearts pounding. Because deep down, none of us felt like the game was lying. When it ended, nobody spoke. No jokes, no laughter. Just silence. We sat there trying to process what we had just experienced. My heart was still racing, and even though the game was closed, it felt like it wasn't really over. Safe to say, we're never opening that game at night again. But here's the thing: that fear, that tension, that moment of being face with something you can't explain, that's why we keep playing. Because every once in a while, a horror game doesn't just scare you, it stays with you. And if this game remembers us, I don't want to know what it does next.